Sure. Right.
Notice to the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wish to address the council form located on either end of the counter. Give it to either the chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments shall be limited to the issue and that cannot involve individuals or staff-related matters. All cell phones and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call the Budget and Finance Committee meeting of November 27, 23 to order. We'll have the pledge and the prayer by Mr. John Amady.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening, Lord, and again we ask for your wisdom and your guidance as we deal with the affairs of the parish. Lord, help us to make right decisions that benefit everyone, Lord. And Lord, as we enter into the Christmas season, Lord, we ask that you be with all the people of Terrebonne Parish. Let them be blessed. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to
The
the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a roll call, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Mr. Amity, Miss Jessica Domain, Mr. Darren Gidry, Mr. Babin, Mr. Dirk Gidry,
There.
Mr. Trustclair, Mr. Pleasure, Mr. Hardy, Mr. Michelle. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you. Before the beginning of the meeting, I'd like to recognize the past parish president, Mr. Michel Claude, interim parish president, Mr. Jason Bergeron. President-elect, I'm sorry, Mr. Bergeron. Item one, concur with the parish administration to award the request for bids received for the Bayou Country Sports Park marquee sign installation to commercial signs and authorize the parish president to execute the contract to provide for related matters. Will Ms. Domingue, second by Mr. Darren Gidry. Seeing no lights, vote your machines. 9-0. Item two, concur with the parish administration to award the request for bids received for project number 23-SEW-77 levee rehabilitation, cell number one, due to the damages from Hurricane Ida to TD Construction Group LLC, and authorizing the parish president to execute the contract and provide for related matters. Move by Mr. Babin, second by Ms. Domingue. Seeing no lights, please vote your machines. 9-0. Item three, introduce an orders to amend the 2023 adopted operating budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government to the following items and to provide for related matters. Animal shelter, $8,607. Emergency Preparedness Department, $5,885. Economic Development, $8,000. Parish-wide Recreation Fund, $3,900. 5% budget adjustment for sales tax revenue. General Fund, $805,583. Public Safety Fund, $804,583. Road and Bridge Fund, $604,119. Drainage Tax Fund, $604,119. Sales Tax Fund, $604,119. Terrebonne Parish Levy Conservation District, $604,121. 5% budget adjustment for Criminal Court Fund, $97,527. Budget adjustment for Parish Prisoners Fund, $200,000. Non-district recreation, $32,000. Dedicated Emergency Fund, $5,821,076. Dedicated Emergency Fund, $8,507,263. And call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, December 13, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Ms. Domingue, second by Mr. Michel. Mr. Guidry?
Yeah, and Candace, is this a public safety fund? Is that a typo, the 804? Should that be 805? Because it looks like it's the same number as general fund, and then the others are 604.
Ms. Candace?
No, sir, it's actually going to be the 804
Okay.
because we transfer 111,000 to that. So that's why it's not quite the same because there's another transfer there, but
No
that is
problem.
the 805.
Thank
the
you.
804.
Seeing no further lights, please vote your machines. Votes is 9-0. Item 4, introduce an ordinance to amend the 2023 adopted operating budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. 5% budget adjustment for Road Light District Number 1, $58,000. 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District Number 7, $8,208. 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District Number 8, $4,500. 5% budget adjustment for Road Lighting District 10, $10,500. And call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, December 13, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Ms. Domingue, second by Mr. Babin. Seeing no further lights, please vote your machines. The vote is 9-0. Item 5, introduce an ordinance to adopt the 2024 operating and maintenance budget and 5-year capital improvements budget of the Terrebonne Parish Council to amend the parish compensation plan for new and/or adjusted positions to approve a 2% cost of living increase for the parish president's department and council staff, and to address other matters relative thereto and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. Moved by Mr. Harding, second by Ms. Domingue. Mr. Amity?
Yeah, I just have a quick question, Candace, or whoever. The amend the parish compensation plan for new and or adjusted positions and to approve 2% cost of living, God bless you. That's two separate items?
Yes, sir.
Can you get us the language of what the amendment's gonna say before 2 weeks? On the amended
So the amended
parish compensation plan?
The amended compensation plan is just the budgeted positions. So everything that we talked about by adding a position or removing a position, that's part of that compensation plan. So it's not changing the dollar amounts for the compensation. The only thing that will change there is it's adjusted for the 2%.
Okay, so you have to adjust that. Gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So, you got a question, Mr. Babin? I do. Press your light there, buddy. We know you're sorry, but press your button.
I pressed the wrong button.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the range of salaries is not changing at all
The range only adjusts
by 2%. Okay, I mean, we're not changing the range that has been set up.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further lights, please vote your machines. It's 9-0. Okay, item 6, to review the 2024 proposed budget for the following department agencies. Ms. Malden. press you like, baby. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So this is our last round of budget hearings. At the next committee meetings, we will do any changes that we've discussed over the last several committee meetings, and then it'll be adopted on that Wednesday. So that was that introduction of the ordinance was the previous item on the agenda to make sure we can get it adopted. So starting tonight's review of proposed budgets, we have the Terrebonne Parish Library, which is all the way in the back on page 343. We have sales and use taxes for 2024 is 6.9 million, which they are proposing the same. That's not right. It should be 6.5 million. Sorry, which is about 400,000 less than 2023. Then we will go to our Council on Aging Fund, which is Fund 278. Which will be on page, we will read on page 174, which is our budget highlights. A 7.5 mil ad valorem tax approved by the voters of November 16th, 2013 will generate an estimated $7,763,684 in 2024. We have a cooperative endeavor agreement with Council on Aging to provide services to the elderly and disabled, which is 7.5 million, which is estimated for 2024. We have an independent budget that is adopted by the Council on Aging's governing authority for their fiscal year ending June 30th, and this is submitted to the council, to the Terrebonne Parish Council every year for approval. In 2024, we have $150,000 budgeted or proposed each for elderly programs in Mechanicville community, Gibson community, as well as the Gray community. Next, we will go to the Parish Prisoners Fund. We have an agreement between the parish government and the sheriff. We're on page 130, sorry. We have agreement between the parish government and the sheriff of Terrebonne Parish that the parish agrees to pay $12.61 per diem for the maintenance of non-DOC prisoners, and the sheriff shall share the parish 50% of the DOC reimbursements. For 2024, the parish is estimated to receive $681,957 from the sheriff of Terrebonne, which is a decrease of $33,000. We have a general fund supplement of $3,145,000, which is a decrease of $620,000. On page 131, we have our parish prisoners. So this is where we have the $12.61 per day per diem. The projected cost for 2024 is $876,582, and we do have one personnel change, which is to eliminate one facilities maintenance tech grade 106. On the next,
Yeah, Ms. Malden, could you possibly get this information for us next time? Can you see what would be the ratios of prisoners that are from Terrebonne Parish versus prisoners that are from outside of Terrebonne Parish? That way we have that information.
yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
So on the parish medical department on page 133, we currently contract the Haydell Clinic for physician's care, which is at $90,000 per year. With the inclusion of dental care, ambulance, and hospital care, the medical services are estimated for 2024 at $165,000, and our prescriptions and over-the-counter medications is $140,000. We do have the elimination of 4 emergency medical technicians, grade 107, and all of these are open positions. Our economic development is 151,652. So looking on page 112, we have payments to South Central Planning Commission, $42,000 for regional membership, $35,000 for local match for urban system grant administration. We have a transfer to TITA of $625,000, which is the same as 2023. And we have the African American Museum, $10,000, which is a decrease of $5,000 from 2023. If you look in the back of the book,
Mr. Hardy, excuse
Alright.
me, Ms. Moulton.
Okay, a negative 45.93 percentage.
yes, sir. That is because in this department, we have our Downtown Development Commission that is usually budgeted in here. So that is included in the 2023 budget and the 2023 projected. That funding comes from the state hotel motel tax. We do not budget for that until it is actually given to us. So that's why in 2024, you see a lot of zeros.
Okay,
We will have that as budget amendments during the year of 2024 as we get that money.
thank you.
Mr. Bowden?
Yeah, Ms. Malden, on the, on TITA reimbursement, it's up to 50% of the
Yes, sir.
hotel motel tax, right? Up to,
Of the occupational
I
licenses.
mean, excuse me, occupational license tax.
Up to the greater of 50% or 625,000.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you. And Ms. Malden, for next meetings, whenever we adopt this, can you please verify that DL Wealth Management, nor Flagship Wealth Management, nor Chris Domeng or CJ Domeng ever received any financial contribution from TITA?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
In the back of the book on page 340, this is the proposed budget that TITA has submitted. They will present to their board at their next board meeting, and we'll have their full budget presented to you separately for approval in December.
Yeah.
Mr. Hardy?
Let me catch up here, because I think I had a question there. I'm not sure, because I had some notes here. What was that, 340 or 343?
343 is the TITA.
Okay. Oh, that's
342.
342. That wasn't when I had the question.
Nope.
I think,
340. Sorry.
yeah, that's
Just
what,
throwing the numbers out there at you.
okay, I'm here. So as I get this. Okay. I think it was, in reference to the 625, and I see that, I was just asking the question, because I had a question within myself, the requirement of the 625, and it was answered, with the previously, when we dealt with it earlier, so I see the 625 and 625, and it was actually, I'm watching it, and it's the same thing, so, right, thank you.
Okay, moving on to our Public Works Engineering Department. Budget highlights on page 100. We are eliminating one engineering and training grade 205 position. Moving to our animal control, which is on page 105. We do not have any significant changes in this budget highlight. Then we will go to our utilities department. So starting on page 208, electric residential and commercial sales revenue for the year 2024 is totaling $14,014,127. $2,350,000 is budgeted for residential and commercial sale of gas. And we have transfer from the GIS Technological Fund for the GIS mapping of $230,000. Flipping over to electric generation on page 211, we have eliminate one electric plant operator 2, eliminate one electric plant boiler operator, and eliminate 2 electric plant operator. Flipping over to electric distribution, on page 214, we have some major operating expenses that include line clearing and maintenance service, $900,000, which is an increase of $30,000. We have line repairs, $324,500, which is the same as 2023. We have substation repairs of $70,000, which is a decrease of $40,000. And we have some capital for system repairs for a total of $1 million. Our gas distribution, which is on page,
Yes. Sorry about that. I'm gonna back up to the last one. We eliminated those positions or those unfilled positions.
those are all open. All of the positions that are eliminated in the budget are all open positions
Okay,
currently.
so this has anything to do with the power plant being shut down, nothing like that.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Gas distribution, which is on page 216, we have some personnel, eliminate 1 senior utility service worker, eliminate 1 line maintenance operator, and eliminate 1 field tech 2. There is a total of $580,000 in capital, which is including system additions, $400,000, regulator station upgrade, which is $60,000, a scratch and sniff program of $20,000, which is required by the state, and I have to giggle every time I put that in there. And it's true, I promise. And large meters is $100,000. Our utilities administration department on page 218 has some capital purchases for some computers. And our GIS mapping system on page 220 has no significant changes. Moving on to our Good Earth Transit. This is going to be on page 203. We first have the FTA grant, which is Fund 237, that has no significant changes. We have the FTA for the city of Thibodaux, which also has no significant changes. And then we also have our Federal Highway Administration, the rural transit, and there is no significant changes for that one as well. Fund 250, which is our Parish Transportation Fund. Which is on page 156. These revenues are subject to an annual state appropriation. Therefore, $600,000 is estimated through the state's fiscal year end of June 30th, 2024. We have direct services for street repairs, $750,000, which is based on the estimated 2024 revenue through June 30th, and any unallocated fund balance at December 31st, 2023. Your road and bridge is going to be on page 158. The road and bridge has a quarter-cent sales tax that is used to fund this division. The 2024 collections are estimated at $7,080,526, which is a 5.67% decrease from the 2022 actual collections, and the same as the 2023 projected. The general fund is not supplementing anything into the road and bridge fund for 2024. Some of our major capital expenditures is gasoline and oil, $75,000, which is a decrease of $50,000. Shells of $250,000 is the same as 2023. Our urban street lights is $173,095, which is an increase of $4,775. And street repairs is $1,574,827, which is a decrease of about $442,000. And we have 1 personnel change, which is to eliminate 1 field tech.
Yes. Hope that you bear with me. Got a passion for this because I do believe that we that are up here now, we've done the best we could to provide services for the people that work for Terrebonne Parish with their health care, a number of other things that we had to actually take care of the people of Terrebonne Parish that are employed by Terrebonne Parish. And I was thinking because I spoke with Mike, Mr. Toops, last week. I needed some information because I was tried on several occasions to actually get a reporting system that was similar to another place which I was employed, and then I actually have been admiring what Mr. Nake has down where he is. And I want to read the mission statement here. And the mission statement says the primary responsibility of this division of public works are to maintain Terrebonne Parish roads, streets, bridges, and signs, perform grass cutting and tree trimming, and contract monitoring for levees, parks, mediums, cemeteries, drainage laterals, and various locations throughout the parish. Funding is derived from a 1/4% parish-wide sales tax with supplemental funds from the general fund. The last sentence says this fund is a major fund. I'm looking at here the effects and efficiencies in government. Number one, B, percentage of traffic signals upgrade with new technology. That's a 30% across the board and has been 30% for a while. Same category, percentage of tree inventory program computerized, 20%. We're also looking at number two, percentage of work orders requests generated from the public in 30 days. That's 20%. 20% of those things. All right. We look at the number of work orders completed in 30 days. We went from 3,731 in 2022. 2023, the estimate was 5,000, and now we at 8,000. And I think everyone up here, what has happened is the fact that our method of actually taking in our complaints, and in taking those complaints is how we register these complaints. We actually get some benefits that are given to each individual district that's dealing with public service and public works. And constantly getting complaints from people saying they need this service, how we report this service. And one thing I do admire about Mr. Narcan, you can be standing at a point and actually get that app, and that GPS location is at that point. Therefore, my fourth time trying to get this implemented, and if we don't have enough funding to actually get what we need, because my understanding, the system that we're working on right now, flat out does not work. If that one does not work and Mr. Narcan one is working, we need to scratch one and go to the other one. Because the system of reporting, we're looking at what we're doing right now. When someone called me, and this is the idea that I have, that if they call me, they should have already called consolidated government. If they call consolidated government should give them a number of reporting. And I see that we have to respond, or you're recording in number 2 right here, responding within a certain amount of time. So if we should be responding in a certain amount of time, and we have little marks in our response and how we getting our complaints from our constituents, then we need to upgrade the system, because I know I'm speaking for myself, but I'm pretty sure everyone that's up here, they get a number of complaints. And I think it has to be a better way of handling the complaints. Those people that have actually took care of their sick leave, advocation to them, giving them raises, the system has to work and everybody has to be accountable. This is what I'm asking for. This is what I've been asking for, accountability. So if I'm making or seeing to Terrebonne Parish and their employees being accountable in receiving the complaints. And I would like Mr. Michel to know that I'm trying to get a point across. Maybe I'm taking too long. And the point is, if we need to upgrade the system, Mr. Toop, I spoke to you in reference to upgrading the system to better have something done. If the money is not there, we need to address the issue now, because once this is over with, we'll be into next year. So I would like, if it's going to work, or we need more funding, I would like to hear it now.
Yes, sir. Councilman Harding. Last week after I spoke to you, I spoke to both David Rome, our Public Works Director, and Earl Hughes, whose office is handling the work order system. The work order system that Mr. Narcan has been provided to us by South Central Planning. South Central Planning is also working on the work order system for our public works. this is going on for about 3 years now. We've been going back and forth, back and forth. And what I tasked Mr. Hughes and his associate to do is get a timeline, and I will have that hopefully before the next council meeting so that you can see the back and forth we've been having with South Central Planning, and it'll give you an idea of the obstacles we've been trying to overcome. But we are constantly asking South Central Planning to work with us, and I don't know what the problem is. I think they're just probably understaffed, or they're not giving us as much attention as we should. But again, hopefully, I should have a timeline to you guys before next council meeting.
Well, I appreciate that because that's the point I'm trying to make. Because if that's a bog down, that means we're not representing the people. We're not providing a service for the people. So if it's a mere thing of somebody have to move and we move on to another spot, I think that's what I'm recommending. Because if it was about money, we were going to take care of it now. So hopefully, some of my colleagues can understand where we are right now, and we're just not going through this book. We're trying to take care of the problems with Terrebonne Parish. That's what we're trying to do. And I thank you very much.
Mr. Harding, thank you, because I wasn't sure where you were going, but you tied it up nicely. Thank you very much. And if South Central Planning is understaffed, are we still paying them for the service that they're not providing? And I asked that, I mean, that's just a point I want to make. It's rhetorical. So that's something that needs to be thought about. But what I'm really confused about is we have about a 25% reduction in street repairs. Why is that? Is there a reason for that?
It's because, yes, sir. And it's because of what is actually specifically referred to as street repairs in here with contractors. So most of the work we do is with our own staff, sorry. Work crews is really the word I was trying to find. So it's just the way that it's worded and how it's allocated within the funding. It is cheaper for us to use our work crews than the contractors. So it's kind of just been adjusted that way.
And do we have enough in our work crew to address the growing needs? Because there are going to be growing needs with this drought all over the parish. There are roads that are collapsing, and we're going to need to be addressing those. And I'm not convinced either way that this budget is addressing what's going to be definite problems in the coming years.
So we have discussed it. I have talked with Mr. Rome about it, and we have some funding that is going to be hopefully left over in the fund balance that will be available if things start to be needed during the year that we can do the budget amendments for.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And those are two really good points, and I agree with Mr. Michel. The roads in District 5 are deplorable, and it's because of the dry weather, and they just continue to crack, and they're getting really, really bad. But to kind of piggyback off of what Mr. Harding said, the biggest thing that we see in the last 4 years that I've been here is the complaints and people just not knowing where to go with the complaints or how to navigate. And I always kind of said this and thought this was a good idea, but an app, possibly to see how much that would cost or how much that would cost just to start that process. I think that would be a good way. Everybody's got their phones. They've got this all the time with them. When they see a problem, they could just click on the TPCG app and then it go directly to some sort of reporting system, and then they get a notification saying that it was reported. I think that would be the easiest and maybe the most cost efficient way to be able to get that done. And it's just kind of embracing technology and moving us in a better direction. So that would be something I'd like to see as well before we close up this budget, is just how much that would be and if that would be possible. And then maybe there's a fear, it's a cost that people pay just to get the app on their phone or something to help out with but it just seems like it would be an efficient way to be able to get those reportings going. So just want to put my 2 cents. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and just for clarification as well, using panels as an example. If we have a panel, we're talking about droughts here causing things. If we go out and it's going to cost us $100,000 to do this street work, We may divide that between 2 or 3 different departments simply because once they get into it, we find out it's a sewage problem. And it's not just a maintenance problem or it's a drainage problem. So monies don't necessarily all come out of one fund when we find a job or find a problem. It is spread out between those people who are. So if we have a decrease in one, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing less work. It's just being spread out between different departments.
Very good explanation. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Yeah, one more thing. Mr. Toops, if you could, I'm sure you've been down the 700 block of Funderburk, and it's downright dangerous if you just go on the speed limit, and it's going to damage cars. If there's any way that we can get that addressed immediately, because it is terrible, and if we can't, maybe we need to put a temporary 5-mile-an-hour speed limit sign on that block to keep people safe, because it is incredibly dangerous.
We'll take care of it, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Again, good. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Maybe I missed something between Mr. Harding, Ms. Domang, and Mr. Michel, but I went out and I visited with Emergency Preparedness Director, Earl Hughes, and he kind of went through and he kind of spearheaded this from what I understand, trying to get it out. And then he told me he talked with Clay about it, what have you, and I talked to some other folks about it. I just don't understand how it's not, everybody hasn't bought into this of the app, My Government Online. You can do permitting, you can do report nuisance abatement issues, you can report other things. Why we just haven't bought into that to where it's a, it's a strain for us to move forward like that. It's technology. It's so easy. And then I was even able to go into other parishes to their websites and things like that. Ours is a little bit cumbersome. And, when you look at it, it's one of those things where people get turned off really quick because it's so much information. But with an app, I have it on my phone, and all of my constituents that I've encountered in my district, I've shared it with them, and they've called me back with rave reviews. So I'm suggesting that this is not just a planning or solid waste app. This is it should be for the whole parish. Everybody, every department should have access to be able, or the constituents of Terrebonne Parish should have access to use this to be more efficient, I guess is what I'm saying. But again, like I said, I just don't see where the disconnect is. We have it, why we're not using it. Thanks.
All right, moving on to our drainage tax fund on page 162. The drainage tax fund is a quarter-cent sales tax, which is estimated at the $7,080,526. There is also an ad valorem tax that helps fund this department. It is a 7.15 mil. It is estimated to generate $7,401,379 for 2024. We have several major operating expenditures. We have 1.2 million for lateral maintenance and expansion of the acreage rotation. We have gasoline and oil, 350,000. Diesel pumps is 1,150,000. Pump repairs is 650,000. Contractors repairs is $1 million. Canal and lateral ditch maintenance is 200,000. Collection canal cleaning is 20,000. Permit monitoring is 46,000. We do have several personnel proposed changes. One is eliminate 1 welder, eliminate 4 pump attendants, eliminate 2 field tech 2s, and eliminate 3 field tech 1s. There is also proposed capital of $1,595,000. This includes 4 4x4 pickup trucks, some pump station pipes for pump station D50, pump station sump box at D80, 4 soft starts at the Elliott Jones pump station, 1 dump truck, 1 grapple truck, 2 mini excavators, and 2 trailers. Moving over.
Yeah, thank you. The $1.2 million for the privatization lateral maintenance, is that increased or decreased from this year?
The same as 2023.
Okay, because they've done a, and I'm not, they've done a, I guess they've done an okay job at what they've done, but they haven't done it enough. They're overgrown terribly. I requested something be done 6 months ago, and it was already terribly overgrown between Mere Street and Funderburg. The ditch that runs between those two, and it was terribly overgrown when I requested it, and they finally got to it in the last couple of weeks. And then, they're gonna need to, and it kind of references it in here, but I don't know that the money references it. They need to increase the frequency of the number of times that they cut this and do something to keep those ditches. You see, because the problem with these ditches is that these people live next to these ditches. Not everybody can cut them themselves. And so they keep their yards up beautifully, and only to have their backyard, or in some, well, it'd be their backyard, look terrible because the parish is not keeping up their stuff. The same thing is true, which I guess would fall into the same department with this, on Alma Street, this area around the retention pond on Alma Street. So I just wonder if we don't need to increase that. There's a small increase, of $80,000 on canal and lateral ditch maintenance, and I would guess that that's what the parish does. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, but it would be nice to see a more substantial increase so we could do more with that, because I don't think we failed at it, but we made a D on it, in my humble opinion, and probably failed at it in the opinion of many of my constituents.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure to bring that up with Mr. Rome.
Thank you.
Yes, and basically I'm in the same area because before we've been actually, we've had several times that we had people come in and the complaints were about lateral ditches and how we maintain the lateral ditches. And I see up here on the major operation expenditures, you have other contracts, $1.2 million, this privatization of lateral maintenance. Is that associated with that $200,000 and an increase of the $80,000?
Yes, sir. The first 1.2 million is what our contract laborers do, and the 200,000 is what our work crews do.
So those contract laborers, and who monitors those contract laborers with that 1.2 million?
That would be David Rome,
That would be Mr.
or
Rome.
somebody in the drainage
Okay,
department.
so that's part of the process and going forward, I'm trying to look at that too. I see you have a $80,000 increase. That was good. Hopefully we're trying to get the funds there because there is a number of complaints. And the other thing, would the lilies that we've been talking about several times up here, what would this fall under? Would this fall under this particular agreement we have here, or is there anywhere that we have set aside something to deal with these water lilies that we have in Terrebonne Parish?
It would be part of those expenditures that we're discussing.
Okay, so that is a problem. And I want the folk out there that's listening and watching and may read some of this, that we're trying to address that issue. Do we have enough funds? I'm sure that we have enough funds because we budgeting that much funds. So, okay. One more thing I would like to ask, it says permit monitoring 46,000. That's the same thing as 2023. Could you explain that to me?
So unfortunately, Mr. Harding, I don't think I can explain that to you.
Okay.
But I can get an explanation for you from Mr. Rome and have that sent to the council.
Yeah, that would be a $46,000 answer. Thank you.
Yeah, we in here, and it may be in another section. But we talk about diesel pumps, $1.15 million. We talk about pump repairs, $650,000, same as 2023. We've added a lot of new pumps in this last year. Elliott Jones, for example. Now that probably still is under a warranty type situation, okay? But where does the electricity bill come from in this budget for Hanson Canal, for Elliott Jones?
So that would be under the line item of other services and charges. We actually don't have it split out between like the utilities like the electricity for the buildings and the electricities for the pumps within our budget line items. We'd have to pull each invoice and see what it is, but it gets paid as just part of one of the operations, operating and maintenance
Because I mean, when we
accounts.
build a $15 million pump station, there's operation and maintenance forever on
Mhm.
there, okay? And it just increases over the years as the equipment gets older, okay? I'm assuming,
Yes,
all
sir.
right? But again, like, and I'm using Elliott Jones, and maybe Hanson still also is under some type of, a warranty type program on those pumps.
So I do know that Hanson is now our responsibility for the electricity,
Okay,
the utility side of it, because we did have to do an increase in one of those line items because of that. I think Elliott Jones is still warranty kind of thing.
correct.
But we do monitor that as it comes in, and we do try to plan for it. Part of the problem is we don't always know when the pumps are going to be completed and when it's going to be turned over to the parish as a responsibility. So a lot of times when we have these pumps that are completed, we'll adjust for it through a line item adjustment within the department.
Okay, because like Elliott Jones has not been accepted yet into our system
Right.
fully, correct? I see Mr. Toops, and he knows where I'm going with that. Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Okay, so next is going to, let's see, we just did drainage, is pollution control. On page 223, the sewer collections for 2024 are estimated at $7,190,500. In the sewage collection department, which is going to be the next page, page 225, we have some major expenditures. Our utility cost is $415,000. We have a 2.25% collection fee of all sewage revenue collected by waterworks, which totals to $160,000. Sewer pump repairs is $100,000. Contractors repairs is $180,000. The personnel is to eliminate one crew leader, eliminate one field tech, and our capital is $675,000, which includes to replace pumps motors at lift stations, some manhole repairs, and some pump station upgrades. Your treatment plant, which is on page 227, we have no significant changes. Your pollution control administration, which is page 229, we have eliminate one engineering tech. And your sewer capital additions is $1,450,000, which includes sewer rehabilitation and 1.2 million for infiltration and inflow elimination. And we do have some bonds that are outstanding for the pollution control department, and in 2024 we will have principal and interest paid of $152,437. Next on our list is going to be our fleet maintenance department on page 263. This is one of our internal service funds. So their major funding source is user fees charged to user departments. And that for 2024 is proposed at $1,109,865. We have eliminate one mechanic one and capital purchase of one new computer. Next we have,
Okay, so you eliminate one position and 2023, then you have an increase of two. One is senior fleet mechanic, and the other one is a mechanic too. So we're gonna have in this particular department two more people, even though you eliminated one. It's 8 and 10.
Yes, sir.
Job title.
So we have 8 filled positions.
Okay.
We are going to have 10 total positions where with that one that's eliminated, it'll just be one open position.
Okay then. Thank you.
God bless you. Next is going to be our sanitation fund on page 234. We have an 11.21 mils ad valorem tax that is projected to generate $11,355,682 in 2024. The 42,250 average units will produce approximately 5.2 million of collection fees, with an $8.50 per month user fee for garbage and $1.50 for mosquito abatement. And we have the tipping fees at $42 for commercial rates, generating 3.1 million. On page 235, this is our solid waste services. We have some major operating expenses, a disposal expense of $5,144,794, a transportation expense of $2,229,976, our solid waste contract, $6,925,231. Mosquito abatement is $616,176.
Hey, I'm popular today. Miss Candace, we had spoke once before in reference to those 13 pieces of property. I forget the numbers. Is that an increase that we have here, like $9,600? Because we were into discussing how to increase funding for those 13 parks, and I think Ms. Domain, she has another park that she was going to add off into that, those 14 parks, and we were talking about some money that we were going to increase. We'll talk about that later on. What do you remember?
I remember talking about that, yes, sir.
Yeah, we
The
were
parks.
yeah, the parks. I think we were had broke it down to like $1,200 a park over a period of years because we had to take care of the cemeteries also. So you know what I mean. At this particular time, is we can have an increase, and we can the conversation we were going to have in reference to try to get more funding to take care of some of these 13 parks that's coming out of here. That's a lot of money. So let's see if we can talk later on in reference to those increases, because I think 13 has to turn into 14. What was the name of that park you have, Ms. Dorman, that we were talking about? That additional, yeah, Homo Heights is going to be added into that also.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention this earlier when Mr. Harding talked about water lilies, and we want everybody to realize that we want to try to maintain that. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We've been having extremely high salinity in Terrebonne Parish for the last month. I mean, we're catching redfish in the slips where I live and crabs, and they're catching shrimp on 311 in Bayou Black. What that does is going to kill off a lot of grass and a lot of lilies. We're also projected to have a colder than normal winter, which will maintain that same level, keep those lilies down. So as a parish, if we take a look at it next year early and spray early, our cost could literally go down on spraying next year, where we could cover more area. Now, not all of it is going to be affected by that salt water and that cold, but a good portion of it is. So hopefully, since Mother Nature might give us a little break, we will have more money in the budget next year to maybe help. We'll never eradicate the water lilies, but help maintain them. And I know what you're referencing to it in Bayou Black, and as it gets to the Gibson area, it's just unpassable. But I just wanted to bring that up, and I apologize for not doing it under the section that we were talking under.
Okay, so next is going to be our last one, which is our capital projects. On page 282, this is a budget summary of all of our capital projects funds and what we're proposing for 2024. We are going to propose a transfer in from other funds of a total of $970,000, and that is going to be all coming from majority of it coming from our quarter-cent capital sales tax fund, and that is going to fund a animal shelter HVAC for $150,000, some courthouse annex repairs $70,000, some district court renovations $250,000. This is for all 5 courts within the courthouse, and then, excuse me, and then we're going to have a proposed $500,000 to our parish sports park complex, and that is coming from the parish-wide recreation district fund. That's all I have.
Yes, thank you. And I'm sorry if this question sounds a little strange, but it's just something that I'm curious about. I'm sure it affects all of us up here, but there's several projects that, and you know, we all get a wish list every year, and there's several projects that were either funded or partially funded, but never were started or never completed, or maybe started to go through engineering, but then didn't finish engineering. What happens to those projects and what happens to that money? Because does it just is it just wasted? And I just want to know kind of where that is. And I guess one of the projects is the Homa Heights drainage projects. We had, I believe it was $60,000 to go out to engineering, but then it never happened. And then, I know we need some additional funding, and that never happened again. So I'm just curious, and I imagine it probably affects all 9 of us up here. What happens to those projects, and what happens to that funding, or if it was already kind of allocated?
Yes, ma'am. So the way that our homework charter and budgeting practices and all are read is if you have something funded for 5 years and it has not been completed, has not been fully funded, there are no current contracts related to it, that will get closed out and go back to whatever funding source it came from. So if we took it from the drainage fund, we would put it back into the drainage fund. If we took it from the capital improvements, it would go back into there. But it's usually 3 to 5 years that we look at it to determine if there's not enough funding to get the project complete. Are we going to get funding? If we think we're going to get funding, it can stay in there. It's kind of at the discretion of the administration at that time, but best practices are if it's not complete and there's not enough funding and we don't project getting the funding, that it would be closed out and go back to wherever it came from.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, why is it from 2022, we had $23 million in revenues, and then 2023 anticipated about $60 million, and now we're going down to less than $1 million? Is that a stupid question?
It's not a stupid question. So 2022 is your actual numbers. So that is the actual revenue that we got in. We have to think about it as a lot of these funding sources for our capital projects are reimbursement basis. So as we have the expenses, the revenues are going to come in to clear that. We are required to have the projects fully funded in our budget. So if we have a $10 million pump station and we're expecting to get $10 million in revenue, when we do that initial budget amendment to recognize that project, it's both of them. We carry it over from year to year in order to maintain what we're expecting to get depending on how the expenses come in. So that 51 million from 2023 in that budget, I don't remember what we added, but that's the additional revenue that we hadn't collected in 2022, but we still have as a project and are still anticipating to receive it. So we just project that all of the expenses are going to happen and we're going to get all of that revenue. So when we look at next year's proposed budget, it's going to be all new activity, all new projects. Nothing that's currently in place or budgeted.
Okay, and we bought a building supposedly in an effort to clear way to rebuild the Funderburg Street Bridge. Do you know what the status is on actually doing that bridge?
We still have it funded. Well, we still have some budget available, and I think that we are trying to complete some more land acquisitions to be able to move forward.
Okay, Mr.
You want me to answer?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we currently are in the appraisal process of the land across the bayou.
Okay,
I'm working with the landowner and I currently have it at the appraisal.
you're gonna
level.
buy the entire piece or just the edge that we need?
Well, it's a smaller tract than the old First National Bank or old Trade Winds, a real estate place. It's a smaller tract of property, and the property owner does not want to sell just a piece. You wouldn't split it up. The plans is to buy that smaller piece, which is on it. David Rome says until the parish is ready to build a building, he may utilize it possibly for other things until the parish is ready to build a bridge. But no, you can't split the property.
Okay,
Okay, I mean it's not quite as big a piece of property as that.
I thought it was bigger actually.
No,
It was longer, not
well,
as.
it might be a little longer, but we were having discussions with it the other day with the appraiser, and he told me it was a smaller tract of land.
Yeah.
I don't
okay.
have the numbers with me.
No,
but-
that's fine, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm with Ms. Domain. Ms. Candace, we have money comes in from different areas and we can use it certain ways. money coming from the state for a particular project. Say, for instance, like the Mount Pilgrim project. The Mount Pilgrim project had a engineering survey done. They were actually paid. I think it started out a little over $1 million. I think it had like $700,000. Believe it or not, Ms. Dorman, that was back in
It's a long
1998.
time ago.
Okay, so that money is no longer there.
It's still there.
It's still there. So
Mm-hmm.
we just need to put more funding to actually aid in some of the problems that. So we're looking forward in the coming years for that, because that money's still there, because it's different from when we take it from the general fund or wherever, right?
So if it was, I don't remember, I'd have to go back and look. If it was state money that they're still saying they're gonna give us that, it's not any money that we can even move to put anywhere else, because it's either coming
Has
from
to
the
be used
state or
for
we're
that.
not getting it.
Right.
So it's probably still in there just based on the agreement that we have with the state. We'll just have to figure out what the status is
And
of
that's
it.
an area we probably need to address later on, hopefully, because they have that area, it floods there. So $700,000, couple of $100,000 actually to help the people out down there to be fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Vote is 8-1, one abstention. Meeting adjourned. I gotta use the little boys' room. There we go.
Notice to the public, we wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located on either end of the counter, and either give it to the council chairman or the council clerk. And prior to the beginning of the meeting, all comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words, and actions and comments shall be limited to the issues and cannot involve individuals or staff-related matters. We also would like to have all cell phones and electronic devices used for communication to be silenced for the duration of the meeting. And I will actually call the public service committee meeting to order. I will do the invocation and the pledge. Heavenly Father, as we take care of the affairs and the numbers and those thoughts and going into the progress, oh God, we actually will consider our opportunity to look at this body and consider this body as one. And the decisions are made that are up here and out and about this government, oh God, be a solid and decisions that we can make, and we all be on one accord so we can go forward as one parish. Thank you very much. In your darling son, Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Amity, Ms. Domain, Mr. Darren Guidry, Mr. Babin, Mr. Dirk Guidry, Mr. Trustclair, Mr. Pleasure, Mr. Harding,
Here.
Mr. Michelle. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Item number 1, introducing an ordinance to amend the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances to name the East Side Public Safety Substation the Chester Nixon Senior Community Police Station in honor of the late Mr. Chester Nixon Senior, and call for a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, December 13, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Any lights? Been moved by Mr. Pleasure, second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Any discussion? Members, vote your machine. We have 9-0. Item number 2, introducing the ordinance to amend Chapter 28 zoning Article 11, Terrebonne Parish Coastal Zoning Management Program, Division 4 Enforcement, Section 28-271, regarding the coastal litigation, and call for a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, December 23rd, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Or 13th, what did I say? Oh, December 13th, 2023.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Dirk Gidry, second by Mr. Darren Gidry. Steve Trustclair, Mr. Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, at very quick reading of this looks like somebody wants to change the rules of what a parish president can and cannot do when we only have a month left of being in office and there'll be a new administration. I'm not even gonna vote. I realize it's gonna pass, but I'm not even gonna vote to send this to public hearing, and I certainly won't vote for it when it comes up. Thank you.
Someone was vacant, so any more lights?
Who's over there?
Okay then, yeah. Any more discussion? Members, vote your machine. We have 8 yeas, 1 nay. Motion passes. Item number 3. Introducing the ordinance to certifying and approving an ad valorem tax exemption in accordance with LA Construction Art, Constitution Art 7, Section 221F for machinery, equipment, and other capital improvements to accesses at 301 Bayou Dulars Road, Homer, Louisiana, 703 6th Street, owned by Volunteer Homer Shipyard, LLC, in regards to its industrial ad valorem tax exemption application number 202-10609-ITE, and call for a public hearing on said matter Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Mr. Amity.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. Any discussion? Members, vote your machine. We have 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item number 4. Excuse me. Pursuant to Louisiana RS 42 semicolon 16-17, the Public Service Committee may convene into executive session in order to discuss the following: Bobby O'Brien Jr. on behalf of himself and all other similaries situations versus Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, civil action number 2 semicolon 22-CV-03203, U.S. District Court from the Eastern District of Louisiana. Move by Mr. Dirk Gidry, second by Mr. John Amity. No discussion. Members, vote your machine. 9-0. Who we have?
Candace Malden, Michelle Neal, and there's 2 other lawyers, Rachel Renfro, and Eve Masendra, and myself. And, well, the councilman.
And the council.
And Dana Ortego. Dana Ortego. How are you? Got back last night. How kind of dreary with the weather, but oh yeah.
Thanks for bringing it. You must have been reading on
Oh, the bridge, and it's $700 fund.
No, I haven't.
Put it on one of those chains, like kids at the gas station. But like, remember the keys to the gas station? They put it on.
That way you don't have to worry about getting it.
It's always scattering to find something.
But sometimes usually they just.
More, exactly, I understand.
People don't understand. Pretty good. It's designed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing about that bridge, it's like.
When you get back,
How are you?
last night.
Yes.
Right, you gotta start doing 6 o'clock.
Scan again.
Yeah.
Next, sir.
Everything got shifted because of the weather. Saturday, we didn't leave as early as we wanted to because it was snowing. And man, I drove. It's like you have grandkids and nieces and nephews, you don't have candy. Get back to the game. It's like, I like with that.
So you're gonna be sad, I think, yeah.
Dave, Melissa, Manny, and stuff.
I said I'm gonna be sad at the end, but I'm glad that you are leaving where you can focus on.
No.
Hands down, yeah. I'd rather
Going up, it
focus
was
on, you know, than
Yeah.
here worrying about this. Yeah.
And my parents are flying back right now.
Got a lot of fun.
If I could do it.
And then this next one now, this next 4 years, we gotta get something done in this parish. Get them ditches done, get their fires clean, get their projects done instead of sitting on the books for 10 years or 5 years.
2021.
That's ridiculous. So.
I folded this up. I don't want to do
You
it.
did.
Spend the night, like on the way out.
Okay.
12-hour mark.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully we can get some
And
stuff.
then that's
done.
what now, that way we can be all serious. Big state.
Really? He likes that.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Now on the way back.
Yes, indeed.
Doesn't make it stay in Wichita Falls. So, but yesterday
I'll
we
please
stopped.
defend on some of that. No comment, I gotta work here.
Always plead the second. That's cool. Gun exit when I want.
I gotta work here.
I understand. I would never ask you.
I gotta be here. I told Kip today, I said, we got new people, we got old people, but we gotta work with
Oh,
everybody.
you were there?
So we gotta stay
Yeah,
neutral as
Adam
a
was
staff.
there. You can take the fifth all you want. It's
I
good by
stay
me.
neutral.
Good by me.
I stay neutral as a staff. I mean, we're just here to give paperwork to make informed decisions. I stay neutral.
Amanda said that.
We don't have no voting rights. We have no voting rights out.
Oh, was James dancing at that point? Was
James
he live
started
dancing?
taking an hour.
I got a good video.
He already taken an hour now. Yeah, he took, well, he fell asleep at the dinner table, it was awesome. We were all taking selfies with him while he was sleeping.
Yeah, that was awesome. First week of rough. Kyle was doing research. If he lands around the wells in the back of the boats, and his chest is moving, so that's okay.
Right? How's things going?
All right.
It changed me.
Hey, Mr. Officer, where you been? Man, I've been hiding, man. Where you been?
I broke a rib, so I was out of work for a while.
Oh.
I fell while fishing and broke my back rib.
God, Jesus, I know that hurt.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. So I was out for a while.
I saw you came up all that.
Yeah. Late. Staying my shift, man, trying to get everybody settled before I actually.
Where's she going? Where's she been?
Yeah, just the last, I've been out for like 2 months. I've been out. And then it just fell when we weren't working.
Mr. Dennis been here?
Mm-hmm.
You others?
We see Dennis, he's on nights when we're on days, so that's why if you'll see one of the other, we're on nights or days.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, he's been trying.
Well, yeah.
I'm going down across the front garage.
How is it?
Oh, it's a little, I'll bring you
Right,
back.
because either I was working alone, yeah, generally I was working alone, so I was in these offices.
Good night, ladies.
Good night. Girl, I don't know why you about to start shit. Why you about to start fool his shame? Beat us in this morning, let us go home. I know Jimmy, they asking me, I said, I don't know.
I'm not gonna talk about it. It's on,
I didn't know what it's about.
I think it's about not being paid enough for my small. Like the hazard pay.
Could I be honest with you?
Sure.
Y'all don't get paid enough for each other.
No, we do not.
shorted, I just didn't, I don't like to go through these lawsuits, I did not sign up to do it, I got paid what I got paid, and that's what it was.
But still, girl, the stuff y'all got to deal with, geez.
Deal with. I tell you what, the worst part is not water costs, when it's hurricanes that happen, that's why so many police officers are so angry about when we opened up our checks and went,
We
it's
were-
even
I
half
worked-
of what we
Didn't I
used to
say I
pay.
didn't get paid? She didn't even get paid.
But we got shorted about half.
I worked the whole week and didn't get it done.
Yeah.
They told me I would never get for the pay.
The way I look at it is, that's fine, how about next hurricane we have, I won't work.
What I told you, I told them put me down for hell no and tell the
Because
council
we
members.
worked 13 days straight.
What I told
12
you.
Hours a
What I
day.
told you, how many days I work at OT?
We
30
worked-
days.
You saw
With
me
my
there, I
house,
know.
with my house damaged, with me up in there sitting there.
My
getting
house
it-
was
getting it-
damaged for, I didn't even get to clean, everybody in my neighborhood got to clean their yard but me. My neighbors felt so bad for me that they started to clean my yard for me.
Macy, I didn't get paid.
They came this day.
Get paid.
It was bad.
You know, we used to go to OT for at least 5 days.
We were there, I was
And
there
all
till 5
night.
AM every day.
You remember all night and then the overnight? I told them we wasn't doing the overnight because the overnights are too long.
Well, I did the overnights, I did nights. I did the nights over there. For a week, we rotated supervisors, so.
Y'all rotated, but we didn't have for the two of us. But they deal with so much stuff that they not dealing with. Cause
Well,
we dealing with people.
We deal with people all day long. What people don't see is that during the day, like I got stuck working days most of the time. And we had to deal with the civic center. So civic center's not sending people to go work over there. The police officers have pulled up the road to go do commodities. And so I'm sitting in 100-degree weather, directing traffic in the parking lot, because if not, people will just park wherever they want. So we're having to figure out systems on how to even get them in here. Things I know in our job to do, but we're doing.
Girl, I remember what I told you.
And then
I'm
half
not
the,
going back over.
oh yeah, and then half the time, look, other agencies are getting fed before we're getting fed.
But wait, hold up. I didn't even get the gas, girl.
But we got gas, we had no other choice because we had to run our units.
Every time that
We got gas.
but on our personal bill, because remember the parish employees getting gas. I was never there to get gas. And every time they called me about the gas, it was in the evening when I was off. Then I had to come back at 5:30 in the morning and I had no lights. So you know I wasn't trying to come get no gas.
You should have seen all them. Look.
Cans and all. I got pictures. Somebody sent me this bill. And all this. I didn't even get this. You had to, but I'm talking about my personal car. I went all the way to Dawsonville and Sorrento. And I had a line.
We do that. I got it out. We never had money.
And the thing is, I'm all.
Well, I mean, like I said, I didn't even sign up for
But
it.
you never
I'm not gonna get it.
Yes, you will.
Oh, no, because I didn't sign up for this.
That's okay. It's still ain't just for people on the it's for everybody. When
No,
you say
yeah,
class
yeah.
action, this is civil action. So you don't have to sign it. It's for everybody.
I'm just trying to survive.
But y'all just.
Yeah, dumpster collar.
No, y'all just.
We shorthanded. We can't even, we have no seniority working the road anymore. You got none of the rookies coming to your house every day.
But we could get me a ticket for having my phone in my hand.
You didn't tell them you work for it? Well, just like we're exempt from that.
And the
We're
girl,
exempt from
and the
that.
girl was like,
You should be
tell me?"
exempt from that as well.
But this is what I was doing. I was actually off the phone. I just got off the phone, and I did have my phone in my hand. I wasn't actually talking on it because I just got off it. Girl, and I was like, anything behind that fast? I'm like, where the police going?
And that was you. You getting you.
What up? I said, no, I wasn't speeding because I was going under 10. I said, no, I didn't swear. He said, no, you didn't swear. You have the driver record. He gave me.
It's all right. We got him the other day too.
Y'all really ain't.
And then he started throwing at me. We're like, the little one was like, okay.
Look, the guy said,
Got him this
I said, y'all give me a warning? He said, no, no, no. Charles was like, take out the secret to one of the cash presidents. I said, girl, we get killed behind all those police. You crazy? You hear that? I will go on. I said, girl, black people get killed behind all those want God give me a ticket gracefully?
What car is
Oh, no, I didn't know, no, I took my grades.
No, I wouldn't do it, no, no.
I took my grades.
No, I would talk about you.
She was like, well, you didn't tell me. I tried to show my bad. She said, no, I said, okay. Girl, I can't, girl, I'm gonna go home.
He wouldn't let you show your file. You didn't tell him who you were or nothing?
Well, now I'm trying to show him the badge, and he said, we're not, I said, cause y'all been alone, he said, we're not doing one, okay. I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to force myself.
No, I know, but we got all these young cats
That's what they said, they said,
and they all were, if they were, if they don't, if they got a specialized vision and they work the road like I do, they're all young. We don't have anybody over 3 years of experience on the road anymore.
really?
I think we got like, I'd say like
So
we
y'all
have
in
5.
danger too, because if y'all go into assist them and they don't actually know what they're doing.
And then it makes them scared.
You know, they can't do that.
I mean, our families and everything. We can't keep it from us. We can't.
Anything come across from moving police and teachers?
Yes, yes, yes. Them poor teachers.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna tell you what, like, we had to walk in. We don't have the manpower to do all these extra runs. We shouldn't be in all these schools, but they mandate that we do that. We don't have the officers to go there, so you know where all of our senior officers are? In the schools.
Because they don't want to be on board.
They don't want to be on the road anymore. So they're taking these menial positions. But I'm gonna tell you what, you couldn't pay me enough to be in SRO. Them little bastards.
It's
Oh.
my cousin worked for both of them. And I go sit over there and see how she do that. And go, it be something. I be like,
Don't you just want to slap the shit out of them? Like, I can imagine if I told the teacher like that.
I think y'all got good time.
Look,
And then the Jacob, it ain't the church, it's the parents.
Oh, I know the parents. Well, the parents let them act that way. Yeah. I went to a football game the other day for my nephew. Now, my nephew lives in Vanderbilt. And, man, the parents on the other side were so horrible. I was like, you see, this is why I'm glad my parents sent me to private school. I said, this is the only reason right here.
I went to public school, but guess what? My mom used to come to school with kids.
I know, but public school ain't like it what it is now. It ain't even close like it is now. I mean, not a rest that they make in these schools.
My sister called me at lunch, you know, she's a dispatch attendant. She said, how that boy there and I got on TV talking about his son being killed? The guy that was the call with the girl, you know, I could throw something at him. I was like,
Well, he had already gotten off of a murder charge once before,
Oh,
you know,
really?
or a robbery charge or something like that.
I said, I'm
That's-
sorry for them, whatever they get.
Well, because in New Orleans, why they throw out everything, they don't give a shit.
and she's talking about, God, I could throw somebody. Well, don't break up your TV behind Washington.
Look how
Well,
that
they got,
boy had
you got them on video and they parents come in and say, that ain't my baby. Bitch, this is your
Yeah.
head. Look, right there, that's him, look. That ain't my kid. What is wrong with y'all? And all
When they
they
want
know.
to angle over.
I said, when
When
they
you're not seeing they go to jail, look in New Orleans, they ain't prosecuting nobody. They don't prosecute nobody here.
See, when they took him from Bridge City and they want to go there, I said, let him go.
Let them go, absolutely.
Because you're going anyhow, you might as well get a
Bridge
ticket.
City's a joke. It's a joke.
It's a
Just
joke
like
now.
our juvenile detention center is a joke.
It used to be, because Bridge City used to be something.
But look how that boy had paralyzed that boy his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And that woman ain't never called them people and tell them, but she the one let him out and get off on him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, help him.
I know, but even our juvenile detention center is a joke. They treat them like babies. You go there, what the police did to you, baby? No, what the police? Bitch, I wish I could spank him like his fucking mama should have. It's what I did. I just drove him here, asshole. That's what I did. What I did to him. Oh my God. I said, that's why they act like this, because of people like you.
But that way, they got the ones like, you know, little misdemeanor stuff, they treat harsh, like criminals in the courtroom. But the other ones, the felon that should be treated harsh.
Still right now, we went from, we don't know, still right now, for months, we have not been able to take anybody to jail unless it's a violent felony. You can have 10 kilos of dope in your car with a gun and you're not going to jail.
That's the hurricane. It's the hurricane, because my sister said some of the jail are not taking them, and they can't prosecute.
Well, we're not doing it because we ain't got enough police officers to work the jail, so that's why we can't bring them.
I think all these places that need people, they
You
should
gotta
break
give
down
them
their
money.
criteria or something. Like, oh, you need 5 years of experience. Well, how am I
You
ever
gotta
get
give people
experience
money.
if I never get the opportunity?
Right, you gotta
to
get your foot in the
train?
door somewhere.
Exactly.
But you gotta give people money.
Yeah, that too. You got the people.
Why ain't nobody wanna do job for free anymore. I mean, shit.
They gotta give you money. That's
The
what
way
I'm
people
saying.
talk to us in a day, I'm like,
My cousin was the police in New Orleans. He was in the 7th district.
ooh,
He quit that.
I bet he did. I
And
would
he
too.
said he couldn't ride home with his police shirt on, but he'd drive with a revolver on the seat. Then he said,
Oh, I don't go nowhere in this town without being money.
and he said, then for Katrina, some of his fellow comrades stole his gun. So he quit. Then he went work for Tulane. Well, he said he had a girl, he had to go in front of disciplinary board at Tulane, because the girl was out there walking. Her friends had left her at 2 o'clock in the morning one night, tried to get her. Her parents had money, so they complained.
Well, they all got money to go to Tulane.
But you know, some people go on scholarships. They brought him in and said that he was harassing her. He said, but what he was trying to do is stop her from getting raped.
Yeah.
Because you're out there drunk, you're on the ground.
But all it does is take her to accuse him of doing the same
Right.
thing.
So then they wrote him up. So he quit that job. Now he work at Children's and he like it. He secured their Children's. He said because them people need help and they got children and you know he like it. I said you like the school? He said cause them girls used to be so drunk out there, vomits and everywhere. They leave them, they lay in the ground. I said what you mean?
New Orleans got its own set of problems. Yeah. Look, you go to New Orleans. My brother-in-law's car got broken into in a parking lot. They stole everything in his car, briefcase, everything, and it wasn't out. They broke into every car in the parking lot. Stole his gun, his briefcase, everything that he had underneath the seat. Police wouldn't even come out and take the
Oh
cars.
no, they don't come out. Now you call them.
Look,
It's
I got the
automated.
keys in the car
It's
in
automated
New
in New
Orleans
Orleans.
like 3
I know,
weeks
but
ago.
you call the cops, we coming to you.
Oh
This
yeah,
town.
in New Orleans, automated girl, automated.
And 3 weeks ago, and the girl's like, I think this is New Orleans. They ain't going for a murder. Or a
They
fire.
sure not.
So you know,
What's sad is that his gun was stolen. They're not even taking a report on the theft of the gun, so it's not going into NCI. The national
That's right.
database is
That's my
stolen.
suspicion.
He had,
Yeah.
he had to come here, and we had to do a report for him saying it was stolen, even though it's not our jurisdiction, and put it in the national database.
Just
It's
so it
stolen,
could, in case
just in
somebody
case
sees
it's
somebody.
used in a crime. They wouldn't even do that.
But I hope the new police chief that they got do something.
Well, it's good they got. It's not his. It's not on them either. It's the DA's office too.
But he ain't running again. He said he's not running again.
I mean, you got DAs that are throwing out things like that poor woman that got murdered by them boys. They were the main one that hurt her. He had gotten off on a major crime already once before because he didn't want to prosecute it.
but look how they let the guy out and then put the ankle monitor on it, and he
Lord
went and beat the
have
girl.
mercy.
Yeah, well, that don't protect nobody, just like a restraining order don't protect nobody.
True. True that.
What, they gonna wave that paper in the face as they beat my ass?
Yeah, exactly.
Come and get me.
Exactly. But let me tell you something. My cousin went to court with Tillo a long time ago. Her husband was fighting and stuff, and they wouldn't give her protector because she told the judge, if he come behind me, I'll kill him. So they wouldn't even give her protector.
I don't think he nothing anyway.
So guess what? He came behind her. She had the gun with a pillow. He got in through the garage.
No, she shot his ass.
She shot at his ass. He was running. He ended up going to jail. And she had to run for her life on her and her son. His own son had to beat him and get him off the mound. But he had to run through Midland and all kind of stuff because he didn't want to get caught. Went to his mama, kissed him, talking about he gonna see him later and all that. But he never told him what he was done.
See how many cases DA's office drops on you.
But why didn't pick that? Why didn't give the girl a protector? Because see, the protector of it was stop her from going to jail.
Because she didn't want to protect herself.
That's what she told the judge.
That's why they wouldn't give her money.
But she had her gun out because she knew he was gonna come. I said, girl,
Well,
Jerry, you was shooting.
the sheriff office don't help them.
Depends on what you need help for. If we need assistance, like we call them for backup, they're gonna be there without a doubt. We will back each other up in an emergency. But let's put it this way: at the jail, we the last people they're gonna take inmates from. They'll take them from state. They'll take them from us. We'll be the last one on the list. They'll take them from.
I remember one time somebody was knocking on my front door, and nobody goes to my front door.
Because so you know somebody did.
So I'm like, who is it? I don't know what he was mumbling, so I called 911. The lady was like, what do you got on? Ma'am, I don't know. So I was like, does he have a gun? You want me to open the door and say, sir, do you have a gun?
But that's 911. That's a totally different
And
entity
so
than us and
when
the
I-
sheriff's department.
Yeah, so the sheriff, they sent
Yeah.
the sheriff department, but he never had called me and say, okay, where the guy was. I had to call them and say, what happened? Like,
Well, sometimes I'll tell you what. Sometimes that our dispatch, we got some pretty decent dispatchers, we'll ask you to transfer them to us. Because then that way our dispatcher can talk to you. Our dispatchers can talk to you as we're there, so it's live,
I
you
can
know?
tell you about the
Well,
push.
I live in Gibson.
Yeah.
I can tell you about the push. ADT was there one time to work on my alarm. They had the silent alarm on. The guy never took his fault, never deactivated. Come in there, clean their cookies.
Popo
The
show up.
police came in carloads. I'm like, Lord, I know my neighbors trying. They asked me if my husband was home.
Because a silent alarm, man, means more than an alarm.
Look, they asked me if my husband was home. I said he was hunting at the time. I was home by myself. Didn't check the whole house. He came in, checked the room.
I wanted to make sure you're not being
God
held
was
against
so
your will.
embarrassed.
Don't be, that happens all the time.
Yeah, when
But
I
wait.
worked at the old job.
And look, we're relieved it's a false alarm, so
But I looked at that
we
girl.
don't care.
I'm like, girl, I know my neighbor probably got 3 carloads.
Oh, no, I mean, like, if you punch in your code wrong so many times too, it does a silent alarm to us as well, where it's letting us know that you're probably most likely in harm and you can't say anything.
Right.
It's kind of like generally most alarms, if you put your alarm code in backwards, it will do a silent alarm to the police, so we'll come in and you won't hear us come in until
Right.
we're there.
Girl, that woman knocked up our door.
Yeah.
Girl, it was out there. Girl, lined up. What
I
that?
used to work at the PD on paper. We had a silent thing, and like when we had the new
Accidentally
girls,
hit it.
then we started, and the police was stuff like, yeah.
Which is like a 911 hang up. If you don't talk to us, no matter what I don't know about other agencies, but ours 911 hang up. It doesn't matter what you tell the 911 dispatcher, we're showing up because we don't know if somebody's telling you what to say.
Right.
So we'll show up and we'll look around just to make sure that you're at ease before we leave.
I told my husband, I said, I went in every room
Yeah.
up here, child. They were looking around. They was all around the house.
I wanted to make sure you were
I
safe.
walked
That's
out
all.
that door. I said, EDT. I called on people. I said, y'all just left here. Y'all checked in, turned off the alarm. He done stayed in here with me all day, fixing on stuff. And I had them people at my house. God, wait outside. I was so embarrassed. So y'all,
Well, I had it when the police knocked on my door. I ain't open the door.
they was walking
My
around
grandmother
my
was
stuff.
living. She was like, "Oh, open the door." I said, "Well, I ain't called the police. Nothing was happening in my house or whatever." And he's like, "The police." I said, "Well, I ain't called you." Like,
Yeah, but I wanted to tell you somebody who found somebody in your backyard.
I ain't open it, and I never hear nothing else from them.
They didn't tell you what they wanted?
No, he was
I'll
like,
usually
"This
tell
the
you
police."
through the door what I want.
No, they was like, "This the police," and I was like, "Who you want?" And it was mumbling something. I don't know what
Well,
it was.
the thing is, if you're not sure they're not the police, they don't open the
But I
door. If we
didn't.
don't look like this, don't open the door.
I ain't look out the door.
God, I walked out the door and God, it was all in my yard. God, I was horrified.
I got cameras in my house.
I just put them little rings on.
I told my husband, I said, our people was already walking around the house. You guys, Paris, I was. So
That
what
was
you
before
doing?
they had all the camera things.
Yeah.
I said, I wasn't doing nothing.
I used to embarrass the crap out of my sister because, like, especially when I was new, you don't realize you don't realize to turn off lights. When you turn them on, you want a traffic accident or whatever, and you can't hear them because they're LED now.
Right,
And you don't.
right.
Back when I first started, you could hear them.
The light buzzing.
You could hear them buzzing,
Yeah.
so you knew to turn them off. Well, when we first went to the LEDs, you couldn't hear them anymore, so we would forget. Man, I can't tell you how many times my sister would say, "Hey, I cooked lunch, come get it," and I would drive up in her yard with the lights on. And she's like, "Could you stop
I'm
doing
telling
that?
you,
The neighbors call
I'm
when
telling
they
you,
leave."
what's I'm pleased. I wouldn't even open the door for you.
No, she did. Well, I mean, I had keys. She ain't got no choice. But I mean, I'd get out the car and be like, "Damn it!" She's like, "Stop doing that. The neighbors call." I'm like, "You keep harassing me, and I'm gonna tell them your husband's beating you. I keep coming over here because your husband beating you. You gonna keep giving me my lunch. That's what's gonna happen."
I used to work at Walmart at night, and I got off, and I was going home, and the police stopped behind me. He said I was speeding, but I wouldn't stop because I was on Savannah Road. Ain't nothing.
Right, there ain't nothing there.
Yeah, and I was stopped. By the time I stopped at the little gas, he was like, "Why you stop?" I said, "Because I seen on the news that this man acting like the police, and I ain't know you really the police."
You're supposed to call 911 and let them know that somebody you're not sure is a cop is following you.
But this is like so long ago. Remember the guy was in
Yeah.
there?
No, domain.
No.
Talking about the domain guy.
Yeah.
Serial killer.
Went to that bank.
Yeah, but
I seen him the next morning when I got off from
What?
Walmart on Chacahoola Road. The door was, he was parked, but the doors were open.
Yeah.
And the next, that had happened. He had to fit the girl nipple on.
I used to work with Cherry.
I worked with her daddy at Violence.
Crazy.
I mean, we have psychic valves in
I
the
used to
house.
work with him at Rossi. We went to school obsessed. That was Bill's jeweler. Niece. He was obsessed with it.
My dad worked at biology, and they had to continue.
Well, there's been guys that like when they come in, I'm like, ooh, no, how did he pass this thing out? I'm letting you know he creeps me out already. They usually don't last long, but still, man.
Yeah.
But like, we had one that I swear to God creeped me out from the day I met him, and I was always real nice to him. I was like, why you? Everybody hated him. They're like, why you so nice? I said, when he, I said, they looked out of my mind. He coming in here and shooting up this place, and he's gonna look at me and say, you know what? You always kind to me. You leave, and I'm gonna go bye.
Yeah, exactly. And look, when I worked at the penny place, they used to have like the, the A-Rams and stuff, and they had like an order. But I was always out. They would tell me about their children. They would go back to the country for the winter stuff, and they would be like, well, why are you always? I say, cause when they press that button to blow up stuff, they gonna tell me to come on and.
Right, they're gonna give me a warning or something. I mean, you know.
God used to get in the plane, go with some flies. God used to come on there with them wraps on their head. God used to get scared to death. Ask my husband.
No, that never bothered me.
They got stuff under there, God.
Yeah.
Pythons and everything. God used to get it because they got stuff under them things.
My concern was I just didn't want to sit next to them because they usually smell.
Yeah,
But other than that, I wasn't scared of them. I was like, oh, don't sit next to me.
African smell. I had a
Yeah.
lady sitting next to me one time picking it up. God was about to beat my husband ass. He was about to winter laughing down.
Oh, and look, put your feet on. Oh my God, put your feet up next to me in front of her.
Yeah.
Nasty ass feet.
And she was picking at him and reading the book. God.
Oh, nope.
Then the next, that's why I like flying. Then we were coming home from Oregon. I never forget this. It was the 3 rows. I had to sit in the middle because my husband wouldn't sit by the man, but he was big, y'all, and he kept leaning on my side and this and that. And girl, I was,
Those should have to have 2 tickets.
Yeah.
he
I think
didn't
they
have
started that though.
I think they did.
They did.
God, the person in front of him was leaning back, and it was like almost in his stomach.
Oh.
And God, he kept, God was so mad at my husband. I said, I can't beat your ass. Because he was that, he would just laugh and hunch shoulders. I said, beat your ass.
My son had to bring him to Louisiana to LA. On our way back, the whole plane was full of like Vietnamese or whatever, and just us was the only. I had to write some lady, we on the right plane. We going to Louisiana.
There's a lot of Asians on here, and I'm the only black person on this flight.
She said, we going right there, but they don't look like I'm going to Louisiana.
Am I going home?
But she upgraded. She put us in the front
Look
or
like you're
whatever.
going to leave the little Vietnam Ho Chi Minh Trail.
So my stepson told me, what do you eat at the Chinese fast? I don't eat nothing but Chinese. I said, if I go shrimp fried rice, I can see shrimp. I want no combination. He said he like boneless chicken. I said, ain't got no bones. I don't know what that is. Give me a wing.
You see, and I'm the opposite. I don't care if it's dog. Just don't tell me it's dog. If it tastes like chicken and it says it's chicken, it tastes like chicken and it's dog, I don't care. Just don't tell me it's dog.
I don't even care. I don't want it.
I'll eat it. I'll eat it as long as you tell me it's chicken and it
Because
tastes
I'll
like
find
chicken.
it vomited for days until it's a dog.
I mean, in my mind, I kind of think that dog is probably beef and cat is probably chicken. But as long as it tastes like it's supposed to, I really don't care.
I do. I could see me vomiting for days. I could see me going to Terrebonne. Just put me in there, yo.
You gotta imagine, I probably have consumed a lot of spit in my food over the years. I've been in college 20 years.
Probably.
I have consumed a lot of spit. I don't care. As long as I know it's in there. You can spit on my burger and put it there, as long as I don't know it's there. I am extremely kind. Anybody who serves me, I'm extremely kind to.
God be a Terrebonne.
I know my mom was like, you want some of that? That's not what I'm just going. We gonna stop somewhere else.
Oh, you can give me something wrong, I'm gonna eat it wrong. I'm never sitting there. Never. Never.
I don't go. I normally do my own.
Well, I can pick anything I don't want off, and if I can, I'm still gonna eat it anyway. There's nothing that truly grosses me out, except for beets. I don't eat beets. Those and green olives. Other than that, I'll eat anything.
You like mine?
I don't enjoy it, but I can eat it. As I said, that was my mom drilling that into us. When you go to somebody's house, you're gonna eat what they feed you.
Oh, see, but this is the thing. Different cultures, so
Yeah.
don't you ask for the See us? If we ask for something to eat at somebody's house,
Yeah.
or you can your ass, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, mama, what? Didn't I tell you the word Yeah, but mom, should be
Oh,
picking
yeah.
place. Girl, when I tell me, yeah, girl, I should be doing that. But
But you go sleep at their house and they feed you dinner, and my mom's like,
What?
you eat whatever they feed you.
we didn't go sleep at nobody else. They come
See, but
sleep
we
at
did,
ours. They come to my
Yeah,
house
we
and
come
sleep.
out, but yeah,
We wouldn't go and sleep. My mom had 3 girls. Oh no, we
Oh no, we slept up.
You come to our house and sleep.
My mom was an ER nurse. She didn't want us there.
You want
said, oh, no, they could come here. But
I don't think my parents feared that. My dad was a 6'4", 300-pound man. He wasn't scared of nobody touching us because they know that my dad would come in. Well, he was an attorney. He knew people in low places.
Right.
You touch his kids and you know you were gonna disappear from Earth.
Exactly.
My mom said, you could come, your children could come stay over here.
You see, that's why my sister never worried about her kids doing anything either. They were like, they nanny psycho, man. She ain't scared to go to jail. Because I'm not, man. I don't own nothing. I don't own my house. I don't own a car. What's gonna happen if I go to jail? I'm gonna be segregated. I'm out 3 squares of meals.
Yeah, but I
I'm
said,
gonna be by myself.
if I
And I have all
that,
access to the books I want to read. I'm gonna be in heaven.
that's where, if I had to go, I said, because I don't be in general population. I don't be around.
Oh, girl, no one even denied you did it. Yes.
I don't want to be around myself.
I'm gonna be sitting there on the corner waiting to be picked up. Did you do this? Yes.
Like that man in New Orleans, shot well, he shot this person in the store on Veterans or whatever, and he waited outside for the police. He was like, yeah.
Well, if it's one of my sister's kids, you best believe it.
That's what I'm saying about Hamas and all the little children from trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all kept them children for what involved. You know, some cuckoo people.
Well, it's just horrible. God, I mean, God's got to be coming back.
Oh, yeah, for real.
I truly believe we're already in the book of Revelation.
Yeah,
It has
we
started.
are.
It has already started.
You know, I was sitting right there when Mr. Danny was saying the shrimp is migrating to the, the fresh water and the fish. They catch a
Saltwater
red
intrusion.
fish and the saltwater and the fresh water mixing. I was like,
Well, I mean, look in our holy country already. All the things that the
But they
Bible
got,
said was
they've
going
been
to
fighting
happen.
since Jesus did.
They got, I mean, that things are starting to dry up. And, you know,
and look all these fires.
But that's just, we just in the beginning. We're not gonna be here when it ends.
No.
We dead already. This is the beginning. Cause let me tell you, my daughter went to Bible study one
I
time.
want to be the first to go though if it happened, bro. I'm gonna be look the ones that disappear, the true believers.
Yeah.
I want to be on that boat.
Yeah.
My daughter thought that one day in God's eyesight was good. So she went to Bible study. She came back and said, Mama, we got all excited. Me and my cousins. Oh God, one day. But one day in God's eyes is 1,000. She came back devastated. Talking about one day is 1,000 days. Talking about man.
Yeah. I'm just hoping I'm in that first good though. When the steps start happening, I'm hoping I'm in
I
the ones
want
that are
to be in the
saved.
right group. I don't care if I'm in the first one. Yeah, I don't want to be left.
I want to be the one that's the left behind. I want to be the left behind. I want to be in the first group that just disappear.
I don't care. I'm just as long as I'm in the group.
Well, I don't want to be fighting. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be fighting for my survival. I don't want
That's all right. He gonna help me, but don't leave me.
Right.
Girl, I don't care if you don't put me because if you ain't got enough room for me in the first group, just
Well,
don't.
well, my thing is that when you have to get the mark of the beast, well, that's okay. Y'all gonna kill me because I ain't getting that, so I'm going now. Y'all gonna take me now.
I just don't want to be left behind. God, I don't care who you take.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to be left. I don't care if I can't get on the first
That's what
ride.
I'm saying.
Come get me on the second one. You quick and swift. Come get me on the second one.
Y'all got to take me now. Look, they forgot me. Somebody got to take me out.
I'm swift. You shouldn't even have to go to Catherine because I know I didn't get through. And I had told them put me down when Suzette was there. I told her put me down for hell no. I'm getting out of my bed. Ain't got no water. I mean got water, no light. Using a flashlight. Trying to take a bath in the water cool until my husband could put the generator on so the hot water heat could come on. So we could take a bath. And you need to say, man, I got up and did all this stuff. And they don't get paid.
Well,
You probably could have been in that little.
it was like 30 days we worked straight, 12 hours a day. And I'm gonna tell you what, for me it was more like 14 because I run a shift. So I had to make sure my guys got there in time.
But y'all
and
didn't
I didn't
have
leave
places
until after
to
they
stay.
left.
Y'all didn't even have places to stay.
We
Y'all
were staying at the
doubling
police
up.
department.
That's right. People were washing y'all clothes and stuff. I already knew.
Well, I was doing that. I have a generator, so I was washing everyone's
Yeah,
clothes. So,
I remember.
but I mean, it was hell on earth.
Yes, ma'am.
We just couldn't go anymore. It was bad. But no, when we opened up our first checks, I'm gonna tell you what, it was all people. Because we get hazard pay. We're supposed to have
Time and a half.
We're supposed to have time and a half because that is we're working. What is it? Double what we normally would. We're
conditions are all the same every single day. Well, my thing was, is that it's fine. I'm gonna learn from my mistake. I'm not gonna work on my days off. You will find less police officers on the street. So instead of all of us being out, you're gonna have half of that. Okay. The administration now wasn't worried about this. You don't think he was worried about this? Because they kept saying he was missing that. But he was out. He was in the neighborhood breaking in and different stuff. Then we're gonna be wondering. That's the thing, and we can't change over. So it's like I stayed on days the whole entire time. Those guys stay on nights the whole entire time. So the ones who are working days, we're tired because we're working so much. The ones that are working nights, we're having to tap into the neighborhoods to make sure nobody's breaking in. Yeah, right. You went in at 7:36, huh? What time you got them going in? I didn't put time. What you put? It gotta be 6:30. 6:34. Okay. The meeting started at. No, the meeting started at 6:32.
Who won tic-tac-toe?
6:34. No, it had to be.
It's not.
6:35.
This is my meeting, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Who won tic-tac-toe? Once everybody get back in, we can entertain a motion, I guess. Yes, sir. Well,
Write it down, give it to somebody.
give it to someone, then they,
Give it to John.
give it to John and John
give-
pass it to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back and forth, yeah.
yeah. And, give a second. Okay. He's gonna write it. You make the motion. They're just gonna second it. I gotta repeat what you said.
Make a motion to go back in regular order?
Oh, but you's not finished yet.
Not yet.
You's not finished.
No.
Uh-uh.
No.
Let's go ask them something.
Hey, you go get it, you on the clock right now.
Chair entertains the motion by Mr. Steve Trustclass and a second by Mr. Dirk Gidry that we go back into regular order. Any discussion? Remember, vote your machine. We have 8 yeas with Mr. Michelle being absent.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the settlement authority as advised by legal counsel in the matter of Bobby O'Brien Jr. on behalf of himself and all others similarly situated versus Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government Civil Action Number 2:22-CV-03203, U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Louisiana.
Second, motion by Mr. Amity, second by Mr. Danny Babin. Any discussion? Members, vote your machine. We have 8 yeas, 0 nays. Motion adjourned by Mr. Trustclass, second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor? Members, vote your machine.
I'll keep the Zane.
We have 8 yeas, 0 nays. We are adjourned.